Varsity 2023 Esports Edition. We just had Counter-Strike there and a wonderful best of three and a clincher of an Anubis there. Cambridge took it in the end, finishing that one off 2-0. But now it's Overwatch 2. Things will be very dicey in here. And to my right, of course, is the favourites Oxford. Now, in terms of this, how confident are you coming into this matchup in particular?
Pretty confident. We're doing pretty well right now, so well, we should win, I hope.
I heard as well as there's a top 6 European player on your team.
Ah, yes. Rene is, top 6 a while ago. Now he doesn't play as much, but he's still very good. So
Impressive. Now, in terms of the underdogs for once, how does it feel, Leah?
I mean, it's really exciting. I'm really proud of my team. I mean, they're almost all freshers, and for all of them, except for me, this is their first in-person varsity. So, I mean, we're just here to try our best, have fun, and yeah.
And in terms of you're building a brand new core as well, 3 new first years coming into the fray of things. It's going to be quite scary at first initially because you're dealing with, a new system alongside the pressure of building up from the ground. So in terms of that, coming to best 7 against arguably one of the best teams in the country, let alone today's matchup, what is going to be your expectations?
Well, honestly, I've been very surprised in how they've played together since the first week that we're a completely new team, and there are some in-game leaders that have really shone, and I think we're going to surprise maybe.
Well, that's all from in the floor right now. Coming back after a short break, coming to the casters, introducing you to Overwatch 2 action and the map set. Don't go anywhere, we'll see you very soon.
First map not so close, but the second one going 18 or 19-17, I believe the score was. And yeah, so we're here at the Red Bull Gaming Arena now with Overwatch to start shortly. We're starting with Control or King of the Hill, and we're waiting for the players to get started. So do we want to talk a bit about the teams?
Yeah, so who are you most excited to see play today?
Well, to be honest, I think I'd really like to see what Rene has done as a ex-Contenders player and just playing all the time. I'd like to see how he's adapted to the new changes of the game with 5v5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely something to watch. And your team for Cambridge is pretty much mostly new, isn't it?
Yeah, so and anyone who was here last year, you're not going to be seeing many of the familiar faces. We have Xenia and Toby from the previous team, but Toby is going to be on a new role for him. He is a tank player, but he's been unwillingly forced onto DPS due to Cambridge's severe just lack of anyone who wants to play the role.
And Toby was is an ex-console player.
Yes, so his favoured characters were Sigma and Ball, being able to use the controller to not necessarily needing precise aim to be able to get a lot of your value.
And he's moving on to DPS.
He's moving on to DPS.
On a mouse and keyboard.
Well, he's been mouse and keyboard for a while,
okay.
But we'll have to see how it goes. I believe in him. He's a very fair wrecking ball to be feared from what I've seen, and I'm sure he can translate that into some of the more close quarter heroes like May or Reaper.
I think Oxford quite like the May as well, so perhaps we'll see a May on May.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that going to be Seb on the May?
I think quite possibly, yes. Or Rene, to be honest.
So the format of the match is a best of 7 of maps. Oxford are picking the first map, which I believe I've already mentioned is a King of the Hill. So I believe all maps are on the table. So we're looking at Lijiang, Oasis, Nepal, Busan, the new map, and Tarctica should be in as well.
Oh yeah, true.
Don't think I've missed any there.
I don't think so. Have you played much Antarctica?
I've played a bit. Everyone seems to hate it from what I've seen, but I honestly like. It's fine. It's a nice looking map. It's quite blue, admittedly, but it has penguins. Like, what more do you want, really?
Yeah, no, that is cute. I have only played it a few times myself, but it was a good time, and I quite like the different points of elevation.
Yeah, it certainly has a lot of high grounds, which I think is what people are struggling to get used to. And it's a bit of particularly some of the points have a sort of weird structure where you have like a kind of tunnel on a high ground, which you want to control. But yeah, I mean, Koth is usually quite varied in the comps you might see. So we could really see anything from either team here. Do you have any idea what Oxford prefer on a
I think if it's Oxford's pick, I'm going to guess they're going to go with Lijiang.
Lijiang? Okay.
Which I'm not quite sure which comp they're going to use for that. But
expecting any Farah or Echo?
Farah is definitely possible for Renu, I think. I'm not sure about Echo. But another thing to note is, in case we switch to the view of the players themselves, one of our supports, George, Inverman 3, I think, he has COVID, so he's actually not here. He's playing at home, so you only see 4 of our players actually at the PCs here. But I'm really excited. I mean, I was here last year as well, and it was really good watching esports live, so I definitely recommend everyone watching to do that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am flexing my MVP jersey here because I played last round, last year even, and Cambridge managed to win it last time. It was, I think the matches were fairly close, but the score didn't properly represent that. I think Cambridge won all the maps. But
yeah, no, I remember I think there was a moment with Light Void on ball where
sometimes things you don't want to see happen. You know?
yeah, it was pretty living up to the name Wrecking Ball, should we say. But yeah, Cambridge won overall. And so far, with the rest of the games standing, I think Cambridge have won all of them except League. Is that right? I'm pretty sure.
Did they? That could be right. Yeah, because it ended 3-1 yesterday with Oxford winning League, and we've only had CSGO today. So yeah, that would be 4-1, which does, depending on which side you're on, thankfully in my case, probably slightly more disappointing for you, mean that Cambridge have managed to win Varsity, but already it's less of a disappointment than last year being 5-0 sweeped.
Yeah, that's true, and especially, you know, we just watched the CSGO game. That was really good to watch with everyone actually in the same space. Cambridge definitely dominated for the first map on Mirage, but Anubis was much better balanced. And so, here we are. So we're looking at the maps. Yeah, there we go. Lijiang Tower. That's Oxford's favourite map, I think.
It was also Cambridge's favourite map, despite the fact that we usually lost on it, at least when I was on the team. Don't know what that means, but
yeah, I played for the second team for Overwatch, and ours is also Lijiang, so it must be quite a popular map all round.
It's got a good variety. You know, you've got Garden with your long sight lines, and then you've got equally on the opposite end of the spectrum, Control Center with your small spaces, more favouring a broad comp. I guess it's just people like having all those options.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see a Symmetra, perhaps?
I would be very surprised not to see a Symmetra, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
The only reason we're not going to see it is if we don't get the third map rotation,
Markets.
which I haven't mentioned, Markets, yeah.
Yeah, if we're on Markets, I expect we will see at least one Symmetra, especially at the start. A teleporter straight onto point, so it will be a fight on point, very potentially, rather than going through main.
Who do you think you'd see playing Symmetra on Oxford's side?
I would guess Seb to start off with, and if that doesn't pan out, then I reckon he'd probably switch to main or something like that.
I believe one of Cambridge's players, I think Game Boy Lee, has written as one of his preferred heroes that he likes Symmetra. So I think we'll definitely be seeing him on that there, and even potentially on the other two rotations as well. I mean, she's perfectly viable for teleporting in any of them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we can possibly also see a Farah as well. I think on is it Tower? Gardens, yeah. I think a Farah is perfectly viable for Gardens. We might see a bit of a pharmacy situation. Do you think that's something Cambridge would do?
That very much depends on the DPS players, I think. Leah is quite a fan of the Mercy, being GM1 her now, I believe.
Wow.
Sorry, not GM1, GM5, wrong side.
Still very good.
Still very good, better than me. But yeah, so Game Boy Lee being a hit scan player, maybe not. But Toby, on the other hand, that could be playing into his strengths, being not needing so much precision, but being more about the movement and the cooldown control.
Yeah, and the splash damage, for sure. I think that'll be good. It'll be very interesting to see if Farah 1v1.
I mean, those were some of my favourite moments last year, getting those air shots.
Yeah, no, it's so satisfying when they actually hit and when the timing's just right.
Nothing beats it.
Right, so our players are ready now, so we're gonna have a look onto the map now, and we can start looking at what team comps they're gonna come up with.
Well.
Hopefully at some point soon.
Seems someone might have reneged on their... Oh, there we go.
Here we are.
Okay.
Here we are.
So we're starting on Night Market. So, like you said, probably going to be seeing that sim.
So we've got Oxford in red and Cambridge in blue on the left.
And we're getting a nice close-up of some of the great scenery to be found. It's well known that this is what people go to Lijiang for. They get their trolleys and the bins, the random trash. Okay, there we go. We can see some heroes have been picked. Like I said, we're seeing Game Boy Lee straight on that sim. Interestingly, not a sim from Oxford.
No, we've got Rene on the May though, which
Yes.
I know he quite likes, and Seb on Hanzo. So
There'll be a May mirror from Rene and Toby. That'll be interesting to watch.
yes.
But it's looking like brawl comps from both sides, but with Ryan choosing the Reinhardt and Light Void opting for the newer character Ramatra. Interesting, Cambridge not.
Oh, there they are. Dropping
Oh no,
in.
sorry, it's Oxford not taking the TP. Is that Ryan's shield already broken? There are a lot of particles on the screen right now.
Yeah.
So Cambridge have managed to get onto the point first. Of course, because Oxford did not have the Symmetra, so they lost out on that. And now Cambridge have teleported out and are rushing them down. But they actually come off worse against that, losing Game Boy Lee, and the stream has ended. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Oh, there we go. Maybe a bit better quality. The bit rate is struggling with all the nice colours. But it looks like Oxford have won the fight, with Rene cleaning up Xenia here and taking first control of the point, which is crucial to winning Koth. I believe I've seen stats that it's like the team that takes the point first is like 70% likely to win the game. I mean, obviously that's it's a bit of a given that it's an advantage because you'd assume the stronger team wins. But and we see Cambridge teleporting around the outside, trying to avoid Oxford.
The
May walls from both sides. The lamp is out. Is that a shatter? It is. Ryan built that very quickly. But we might also see a Ramatra ult. Yeah, there we go. And the Blizzard came out as well. I think, yeah, that's a wipe for Cambridge again. Very clean by Oxford so far.
Yeah, so 3 ults used by Oxford there. Cambridge has still got 3 up. So they've got their Blizzard to come as well.
Oxford playing far back, regrouping. I'm not sure if we'll see Cambridge take advantage of this. It looks not there. Oh, Toby is down on that May.
Seb sniped Toby.
Not what you want. Imagine Cambridge will be falling back. Yep, being pushed into their spawn by Oxford. This is not a great showing for Cambridge of the first map. I'm sure it's just the warm up.
Of course.
Okay.
Right,
So
moving
we're
back
seeing
through.
4 ults for Cambridge now against Oxford's 2, and I would argue much more impactful ults on Cambridge's side than the Beat and the Hanzo Dragon.
Absolutely.
So as long as as long as Cambridge don't flub these. Okay, the Blizzard is out. And that's the tank dead, I believe. Oh no, he managed to escape.
Oh, yeah, Ram's just gone round the back.
Cambridge are looking to get the point here. Oxford holding on. Rennie going down. Finn down as well. This is looking like a Cambridge fight win. Is that Ryan off the map? No. That tank passive keeping him on. Light Void still up, still kicking, managing to take out one of Cambridge's supports, but it's Kiriko. She'll be back into the fight very quick. And Cambridge winning their first fight.
Let's see how Oxford
20% to 97 though. This is one fight territory. And we're seeing the situation reversed now. We have Shatter into Ramatra ult and BAP window, which could very easily just be a team wipe.
There we go, there's the window, and the May has blocked it with her wall.
It's a good play. Cambridge are disengaging off the back of the point, I think. Is that someone on the... It looks like the... Baptiste was on the flank. So Cambridge have now lost the Baptiste and their Rhine. That's looking like a win for Oxford.
The May duel has been won by Rene.
Sim and Kiriko looking desperately to hold on. Maybe touch. Oxford are actually not capturing the point, giving Cambridge crucial moments to get back on, and now they have their tank back. So this is winnable. It's at a disadvantage, I believe, but oh no, that's actually even numbers, and Rene's gone down. That's looking like the BAP is in a dangerous place.
Yeah.
I saw that overtime ticker go down quite low, but no, it's looking like Cambridge are winning this, unless they see 9, it's going down again. Okay. Okay. Cambridge holding on.
Alicia zooming back round, using wall ride to get back to his teammates.
And now we're looking at a fairly dry fight, I believe. Actually, no, saying that, Cambridge have quite a few ults. Oxford are looking very low, though. Only Dragon, I think.
Yeah,
Close to Annihilation again, though. And Cambridge's tank caught out. Window coming up to save him, but the Blizzard is out. Light Void being saved by Lamp. Oh, no, not enough. The Lamp goes down and Light Void follows. And this is looking like another fight win to Cambridge. And I think this is actually the final fight of the map. Looking at the percentage, that's 98, I think. Lucio going around the back to touch.
There we go. Cambridge have the first objective secured.
Well, I guess they were just sandbagging, because that was looking pretty dire for Cambridge at the start, I have to say.
Very back and forth, both in similar situations as the game went on.
And now we're onto Gardens, so I would expect to see a complete change from the teams.
So we've got Rene on Tracer.
Not many other changes. We have Game Boy Lee on the Bastion now, instead of the Sim. Toby opting for the Sim instead. But still, brawl comps from both teams, really. Oh, in fact, Rene's on the Bastion now as well. So this is kind of the Sim versus the May, really. Cambridge TPing over, most of the team making it through. The May wall is out already. That's not great.
Destroyed by the Bastion.
Light Void shield low, but he's in position, and Rene is returning the Sentry form. But he goes down first. Oxford's lamp is also out. No, both lamps are out and dead. Oxford losing a lot of their damage there. And it looks like Cambridge are going to take this first fight fairly cleanly.
I think Oxford have to regroup and perhaps rethink the strategy that they just had. Oh, and here we can see the April Fool's Day skin still being on a bit.
We're not seeing any changes from Oxford, so they're thinking they just got unlucky in the fight. Light Void going up by himself, very nearly falling, but manages to get back. And Oxford are speeding in now, engaging. Rene in that Sentry form. Window out from Oxford. The Shatter lands. Game Boy Lee managing to pick up a kill, and Cambridge have actually managed to turn this with their own window. It is a 2v2 actually though. No, 1v1 even. 1. And I spoke too soon. Oxford managed to take it, but Ryan is here to contest. Will he be able to get on in time? He does. Manages to stall that percentage, and now is a tank. Oh, but all of Oxford are back now. So this is the Storley fight. We're seeing Blizzard and Symmetra ult. Ryan getting countercharged, getting forced to stay in. Game Boy Lee changing to the Soldier now rather than the Bastion. It's interesting. I thought it was getting a lot of value on it. Perhaps it was just to get back faster. So we're seeing Oxford definitely came off better on the ult side there. Cambridge only having Shatter up, whereas Oxford have Shatter, Beat, and Bastion ult. This one's definitely going in. This fight's definitely going in their favour, but Cambridge do have the percentage advantage. Pushing in now. The Sentry form out from Game Boy Lee already. Oxford just completely disengaging. Don't need to fight that. Why? So why do it? Wait, that was a TP Shatter, I believe. Ryan getting the entire team.
Yeah.
The Beat comes out to save them, and he goes down. A creative play.
Rana getting a few kills there on the BAP and the other Rhine. So Cambridge are looking to regroup now, and Oxford are moving forward a bit more, ready to fight them on the bridge, I think.
So even percentage and fairly even ult banks. This fight could really go anyone's way, and will be fairly decisive in terms of percentage, because whichever team wins this fight, I mean, you can see it's ticking up for Oxford now. Cambridge are being indecisive. Going for another cheeky teleport around the side, maybe? No, they're just regrouping. Looking like a TP onto point, but you can see Inverman there actually guarding it, looking to boop them off. Cambridge opting not to do it. They've been scared off.
They're rotating to the left now, going through the small room.
And this is looking like less fight territory for Cambridge if they don't manage it. Losing Toby to that window, that's pretty huge for them. Sentry mode out now. They're down Lamp as well. A Beat saves them all from Light Void Shatter. And now we're seeing Ryan pick up Seb and Game Boy Lee managing to take out the support. So this is looking like Cambridge's fight, which is really what they needed. Rene dodging the three circles of doom around him, managing to stay alive, getting picked off by Naval Eye instead. And what do we have now? Oxford coming into this with Blizzard. Cambridge looking to have Shatter and Simwall online in this fight. Notably, the male doesn't really care about either of those. So if Seb manages to get a juicy one off, it's really up to Naval Eye speeding the team out. Oxford coming through the white room as Cambridge did. It's the kind of preferred route, not vulnerable to being booped off. The Blizzard is out. The TP out, but Ryan gets caught. Saved by Lamp, not good enough. And now Oxford have the point. Cambridge need to touch this, but they're walled off. It looks like Toby managed to put his little toe on there. But that is not enough. Xenia taking out Seb, but the Lamp, the window and the Beat come out, and that is the second point for Oxford.
Very close round again. Definitely seeing both going up to 55, but then going up to 99, and then getting even higher than that.
Yeah, it's very back and forth. And now, interestingly, they both decided to play Brawl on Gardens, so I have no doubt we will be seeing Brawl on Control Center. Toby opting for the Junkrat, Game Boy Lee going for the Soldier. That's an interesting pick, not one I would necessarily agree with.
Perhaps the thinking with Toby is all of the tight spaces and the corridors are very good for all of Junkrat's nades.
So you think Game Boy Lee picks up the long range?
Yeah.
But Bastion is pretty effective at that as well. We're seeing the Sim out now to TP, and actually Sim from both sides. Seb on the Reaper, he knows how to get my attention, my favourite character.
I think he'll be looking to play into the tight spaces again.
Oxford getting the high ground control first. Light Void pinning in, getting slept. Oh,
Getting
this is
pinned all the way back.
this is not looking good for Light Void. Rene actually managing to pick up Toby on the back of that, but you'd much rather have your tank than your DPS. Ryan almost going down to the Reaper there. Seb managing to stay alive to that lifesteal. But you can see Ryan has nearly built a Shatter already. Oxford taking good map control, TPing onto the top right. And the Ryan is back now. Ryan falls. Okay. Cambridge not managing to convert their early advantage. And Oxford doing well to disengage and force them out.
They're regrouping, they're all healed. Let's see, the Rhine is coming right back into the fight.
Now I'm hoping for an alpha shatter here, straight into Light Void. Ryan has a big history to pick up with Meaty Treaty, having many a place. The window comes out. Seb picks up to the Fire Strike. That's the word. Picking up another, and Ryan surviving by the skin of his teeth, charging back to point. Infman nearly dying there actually to Game Boy Lee respawning.
Yeah, quick retreat. Otherwise, the spawn advantage will kick in.
Cambridge coming into this with a pretty hefty ult advantage. But that ult advantage is just because Oxford are being so much more proactive with their ults. That's how they won that fight. They just pressed them earlier, and they won off them. And again, they've used their sim wall before Cambridge. Cambridge are just being forced to run back. That's the Nano out on the Junkrat, I believe. Not managing to get any kills from it though, as Oxford expertly disengaged. The Tire's out now. Looking to get a kill, nearly dying to the sim turret. Gets a Rene though, that's pretty big.
That is. About to be. Oh.
Beat is up for Infman, but he gets deleted by Game Boy Lee before he has a chance to do anything with it. And Cambridge managed to take the point, but 5% to 74%, that's a pretty big disadvantage to come up with. Luckily, this choke has really everything you want from a defender's stat point. You can just sit here. Oxford might have more damage with that Cass and Reaper on the shield, but and actually they have way more ults coming into this. This is Cambridge need to do something, and they need to do it quick, because otherwise they are going to get just destroyed in this fight. Toby getting very low to Seb's flank. Window coming out. Oh, we see Ryan has used a shatter, but it didn't get any kills. Lightvoid probably blocking it. And without your tank, the team just somewhat falls apart. Lightvoid doing. Oh, he's going in.
He's pushing for the retreat.
He manages to get a kill from that. I think it was somewhat risky, but Daring and Cambridge were down players. And this is the last fight. Cambridge need to be ready. They're coming into a shatter. They have both support ults and are close to DPS ults. But so are Oxford. I wonder if we're going to see Seb or Rene on the flank looking to engage those. Ryan getting a pin. Oh, but shattered out of it. That would have been huge for Cambridge. I believe it was Seb was pinned there. Game Boy Lee and Toby managing to clean up the kills there.
Absolutely.
And the Nano on Ryan making sure he can just survive anything. Game Boy Lee getting a bit too ambitious there. Oh no, never mind. Rene was just hiding in the back. Managing to get 2 kills there, that's pretty big. He's a slow character, but so are the 2 picks he got. Soldier might have the legs, but Anna, she's very important and very slow. Oxford bursting onto the point now. I saw Seb flanking on the left. He's looking to get a cheeky flank ult. Lightvoid in the trap, but Seb gets Mercy and Lightvoid gets Toby. This is looking pretty final.
Window for used.
Game Boy Lee getting a kill with his visor, but that shield is just there to deny him. And even though Lightvoid is quite low, he can't be stopped, unable to touch, and Oxford take the first map.
Again, quite close, I'd say, for this one.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of back and forth.
There we go. You can see the eyes on the characters.
Nothing like some googly eyes.
Oh. Yeah, there we go.
Just seeing the tail end. Rene with this huge blizzard and the annihilation. Seb getting all that follow up on it, getting those easy headshots on the stationary targets.
There we go. So I'll be interested to see what the next map that's being picked is. So we're going to have a quick break now to let the players have talk through things, and then we'll be back with you
Shortly, hopefully.
shortly. Yeah. Thank you for waiting through that quick break, guys. Just had a few stream issues, but hopefully they're all sorted now. So we're coming back to Overwatch, Oxford's won the first control map, but it was 2-1, so it was close until the third. But now we're moving on to hybrid. So what do you think the map choice is going to be like for hybrid, Josh?
Well, there is only one valid option, and that is King's Row.
True.
If I believe it's Cambridge's map choice since they lost, and we can see already King's Row. I know my team. You know, I think I'd have to change sides if they hadn't picked King's Row. Honestly, it's just so much better than all the other choices.
It's a classic map. It's, you know, very well played across, you know, all of the.
It's well loved.
It is. It is. Do you think we'll be looking at a Widowmaker here, perhaps?
Yes, possibly, because Cambridge have a secret weapon hidden in the back. We have a sub, a Widow specialist, who we might see coming out. We'll have to wait until we get into the game. We have no information, but you know, if you see an unfamiliar name, you know there are going to be some one-shots ringing out across the map.
And how do you think Oxford would best counter this?
Well, I imagine Light Void is going to be on Rhine. It's King's Row.
Yeah.
Again, like, there is no other choice.
Yeah.
Like, Junker Queen, I'd allow. Like, pretty valid. But really, it's got to be Rhine. And so, he can obviously protect his team from his shield. He can play up. And I'd also expect the supports to be playing in the back arch.
Mm-hmm.
Nicely tucked away out of line of sight. And for the DPS, it really depends what they're playing. You know, I mean, Oxford might bring out a Widow of their own.
True, Vanny
Yeah.
might bring one out. I'm not entirely sure though. But yeah, line of sight is going to be very important if there is a Widow that comes out. So the opposing support will have to be very diligent in keeping on moving, keeping behind natural cover, and also a shield if there is one, which I expect we will see.
We might also actually see some Sim TP shenanigans.
True.
It's not quite as effective now. The Bastion has lower damage and can move, but I mean it is a classic strategy, and we've already seen Sim and Bastion on the same team. So you might well see that teleport onto the statue. I have actually seen it in one of my comp games. It was a nice little throwback. It didn't work very well for them, I will say. So judgment reserved for whether it will come out, but you know. I'd like to see it, and especially Cambridge have been pulling some like sneaky shenanigans. We saw the TP shatter into the backline. It didn't go very well for them. Like they lost that fight, but I mean, I like the creativity. It keeps Oxford on their toes. They don't know what's going to come next. Is the Rhine going to be in your backline? Is it going to be in your front line? Who knows? And if you don't know, how do you defend from it?
Exactly. With a sim on the table, anything is bound to happen. Even with them sending the sentry turrets through, that could be a nice way to weasel the supports out of position.
Yeah, cheeky little TP bomb to force them into the Widow's sightline. It just all depends on what heroes they pick. And one of the reasons I think King's Row is liked so much is because so many characters are viable. You know, you have some fairly long sightlines, but you also have actually a lot of counterplay around it. There is, as you said, a lot of natural cover that you can use if you know what you're doing and you know how to kind of manipulate those sightlines. And Oxford played that pretty well. We saw some pretty good disengages from them when Cambridge were pushing in. Cambridge a bit too eager to press their ult buttons when they're a bit far away. They can't get value from them. But that's just kind of Oxford showing their, I think, maybe superior fundamentals of the game. The whole kind of rotation, map control, and part of that might just be down to you know, you have some, as we mentioned before, you have some players who've been together for a long time, and crucially your main tank, like that's what keeps the whole team together, kind of the glue, and having that synergy with your main tank is really important. Whereas Cambridge, on the other hand, it's a new player. I mean, they might well have developed that synergy, but they haven't had so much practice, so it seems unlikely. It seems like Oxford will have the advantage in that regard.
It's also worth mentioning that 2 of the Oxford team are new as well, and it looks like our players are ready. So we'll be moving to look on them in a second. But yes, 2 of the Oxford players are also new. They're both first years. But okay, players are confirmed ready now.
And it's a nice stare.
A beautiful stare.
It's a classic one.
Right, here we are getting a nice view of the map in the daytime, which I love that they've added that in Overwatch 2, where they've got the options of daytime and nighttime for the maps.
And we're seeing London. Just a reminder, we're here in person in London. That's where, in the Red Bull Gaming Sphere. And yep, that is true. We definitely said that Cambridge are extremely handsome. I think I remember you saying that as well.
Oh yes, although I would argue that Oxford are even more handsome, but that doesn't take away from Cambridge's handsomeness.
Renee having a bit of an identity crisis. And as we said, we're seeing the widow from Renee. We are not seeing the substitution from Cambridge though, so I doubt there will be a widow on Cambridge's side. And we're actually seeing a kind of interesting hybrid of comps from Oxford.
Indeed.
It's a rush tank and support, but poke DPS. And we can see there are some Reinhardt in the chat with some precision German engineering. Renee, Seb swapping onto that Reaper. Okay, that's more like what we expect. Renee taking his one shot and dropping straight down. Toby getting his wall data down. Obviously, it's for those who didn't figure out. Cambridge are defending Oxford. Shield going low. Pin onto the ice block. Ryan also going low. The May wall is out. Cambridge being forced back. The Shatter's out already.
Wow.
And a window as well. Well, Ryan's shield dead. He's taking a lot of damage, but managing to fall back. Flanking through the side. Game Boy lead down. Light Void just kind of being left in the wake there. He's shielding off the heal trees in him. The Nano's out now. Suzu to cleanse the pin, I believe. And Ryan's just going to keep swinging him. Finn having some fun on the statue, being annoying with that two stuff there. Ryan's getting shot in the back. Seb actually getting a 3k with the Reaper guard. This is, it's just what happens. You pick Reaper, you win.
And goes on from the Blossom to pick off Game Boy Lee as well, so Cambridge going to have to regroup here.
And that's a pretty decisive first fight for Oxford, actually. 5 minutes on the bank to get the payload all the way back.
And we're looking at a Dragon who's going to be ready. We've got Beat and we've also got Shatter on the opposite side. And we've got Blizzard and Casino Rush. And we're building up to another Shatter on the Cambridge side as well, so it could be a case of who's going to block the first Shatter and if the Shatter even gets blocked.
Wall out early. I'm not sure what that was for. Shatter blocked by Ryan, trying to just the Dragon and Seb managed to put Ryan in a hard place though. So despite his nice performance there, he does get caught out. Game Boy Lee not dying middle. The damage reduction of Bastion just too much for that handler to deal with his support on him.
Shield broken, Light Void.
Kimbo, that nearly a kill. Oh, the anti. Okay, Light Void not going to be able to push up here, but able to take control and the car down players. So that Carter is just going to keep rolling. Leah actually on the flank, getting some natural poke damage. Light Void going very low. The Shatter under the cart doesn't get any. Unlucky. It was a nice try. Light Void down. Nano out to Cambridge. Ryan just going to be sending it down main. Seb trying to race out. Does actually manage to get away from the big German man with the hammer. That could have been very bad for him, staggering himself. But Oxford disengaging, but the wall's there.
Oh,
Seb
yeah,
going
Seb
down.
That was good thinking from Toby there, because Oxford already regrouping and now they have to wait. So.
And now this is pretty good for Cambridge, being able to control this nice little choke as opposed to the more disorganized fights they were having. We're seeing Seb TP up onto the high ground. Rennie already up there, maybe looking to flank, poke some damage. And we can see Cambridge being forced to back off from the top angle, giving up their choke. So that's some pretty nice map from there. Actually, we're seeing the swap onto the Matra. The wall though, the pin, the block is going to absorb any follow-up, and the Bastion ult as well. Getting the lamp out. Window, Light Void going low but manages to stay up, and I think that's going to be a fight win for Oxford. Cambridge backing up. Light Void doing the best to chase down, so sad. Wraith was out. That headshot from Renan really saving Seb there, honestly. I think he would have died if it hadn't.
Yeah, beautiful. And the cart is almost at the checkpoint. Okay, so push forward, shots on.
Able to just force Ryan back. There's no chance of him contesting that.
You might see him drop down for a blossom here.
That's true. It's a nice little place. Ryan might want to conserve his shield for that. Xenia going up to contest these DPS, but has to be careful. That Hanzo can one-shot you, but equally the Kiriko can put a lot of damage of her own. She's not just a healer, she is a support. Seb actually still back up there hiding. I wonder if Cambridge are aware. Yes, you can see Ryan sending those fire strikes up. Leah coming up, giving Seb the fright of his life. He does not manage to rake out. It does not work that well.
Shatter hits.
Shatter for dominant. The boot from Imman actually making Light Void harder to peel, keeping Ryan safe. Might be getting a little flame for that one in the comms.
And Toby's got a blizzard ready to go when all back together. Seb is also looking to get a blossom perhaps.
Crucially, he knows where the team are from that storm arrow. Xenia popping up there, looking. She knows he wants to go up there. Cambridge have already know. I guess. Oh, the dragon splitting the team. Actually picking off the Anna as well. The Blossom gets blizzarded. The lamp saving those two. That lamp is really crucial for winning this team fight. Lightboy's trying to and finally manages with the ult to bring down the heals were not quite enough to keep them up.
Melting the Bastion as well.
Oxford using 3 ults for that fight for Cambridge's 2, I believe. Cambridge will be coming out with Nano and Bastion ult, whereas Oxford have both their secret ults. That's a lot of damage coming from that high ground. Game Boy Lee already dead, but the Nano is out, and you are going to struggle to get that Ryan off that objective. He has his shield, he has like 1,000 HP, and the Shatter is out, but Seb is like just cleaning up his entire backline. It doesn't matter if the Ryan can't die, the rest of your team can, and then when the Nano runs out, he can't 1v5, no matter how much he'd like to.
So we've got 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock for Oxford, in case we need to go to another round. But we'll move on to Cambridge attacking now. So perhaps we will see a Widow, do you think? Or will the swap not mean...
Maybe from Game Boy Lee. I really doubt we're going to see it from Toby.
Now having a look at some of the street art here as well, the equal rights for Omnic signs. Of course, anyone who knows the Overwatch lore knows about the lore of King's Row and how important it is.
Yes, the attacking team is actually delivering an EMP to kill off an underground community of Omnics. So Oxford clearly very good at that. I'm not sure if that's something you want to be proud of, but they're certainly winning the Overwatch game from what we can see. And we're seeing the Soldier May from Cambridge on their attack.
And we got Seb back on May and Rene still on Hanzo.
Yeah, I think the Soldier might struggle into the Hanzo. He has good sustained damage, but Hanzo can just peek and remove you from existence, and Soldier doesn't have a lot to deal with that. And if you're going to hide behind the Ryan shield, you might as well be playing Cass or Reaper, really.
Exactly, so here we are, moving towards the objective, going through the main choke.
Ryan looking around. Looks like they're going right to statue. Nope, they're going through hotel maybe. I'd like to see them regen their shield a bit more before they go out, really. Barely has any left. The wall separates the team. Lightboy and Teep are going to force a block for most of his nemesis. The Ryan shield has gone down now. So Cambridge have lost a lot of their staying power. They've actually reversed the map. They're defending again. They were upset about how it went last time. They want another chance.
Lucio gets Rene with the melee.
Oxford just being slowly cleaned up. Lucio last to fall before he does, and Cambridge really taking that just as fast as Oxford did. I think we're going to see basically the same time. In fact, actually that's 30 seconds faster. That could be significant. We're seeing Rene on the flank, perhaps just scouting to see if there are anybody in that window, and now shooting Ryan in the back, who's a bit confused, falling back. Was feeling a bit ambitious, walking all the way up to the old spawn. We're not actually seeing that much ult charge from either team. We've got Nano and Blizzard coming on now, but I think that's just down to how fast that might happen. There wasn't much time. Seeing both walls out. Nexus spawn popped as well. Ryan going quite low, swinging on his corner. Oh, the Nano's out, and Lightweight is stuck behind the wall, but that's not enough. He manages to pop the Annihilation, and that gets him another 200 armor. He does get slept, so he's not going to be able to pick off the stragglers, but that is a fight win for Oxford, managing to stall it at that corner.
Cambridge coming back with Shatter though, and also a Blizzard. When Oxford are building up to Dragon beats, and they've already got in the bag Window and Blizzard as well.
I think this fight might come down to who uses Blizzard first for all. I think that's the best one. Cambridge chasing Rene on this flank, but he's fine with that wall. Oh, we're seeing a big Blizzard from Toby here. Manages to wall it off. And Shatter's out. Not managing to convert those kills because he's on his own, but he is forcing Oxford to fall back. And Light Void falls later. It's just Seb on his own. Is he getting out? I think he will. Unless Toby can manage to land this icicle. No, not confident. He's falling back. Rene swapping onto the Reaper now. What's that from? That's from Hanzo. So Oxford feeling if they're losing a bit of the close range ball, not getting the chance to put those sight lines to bear. Rene teleporting onto the high ground, looking to contest that soldier. But his legs are too strong, he runs away and falls back down.
I think Seth's going to be looking for a few.
Yeah, with that wall and the slow, Ryan just did not have a chance to get out, and he just falls. Knave-like crucially also caught in the Blizzard. Could have actually uses the beat when the fight's already over. That's a bit of a blunder. Game Boy Lee also using the visor. Cambridge really not doing well with the ult to that fight.
That was a team kill there, but within a regroup. They're all there at the same time, so it should be fairly speedy for them.
Game Boy Lee looking on the flank, but Rene not pushed up quite that far. Be a bit ambitious in your spawn. And this is going to be Nano and Blizzard against the Navy combination. Lightweight walled off, his team still has the angle. He might actually beat Ryan up here. No, not quite. And the Nano is out, and Lightweight's going to be falling just before the beat. Not quite in time. And that Lucio's low and in hammer range. He's desperately wall riding, does not quite manage to get out. There's an ice block to stall the point for a bit, but that is not going to keep this point alive for Oxford. The Blossom might, no, slept out of it. Does pick up Game Boy Lee, and that is just like in right now. Just keep Bunny jumping up there all the time. There is a shatter from Ryan, but there's actually a window up there.
Window choice.
Oh, the boot actually stops Ryan from being able to connect that pin, and he goes down. And Oxford managing to stall it out.
Yeah, without a tank it's quite hard to coordinate, and everyone's coming back from spawn anyway, so this will take them a minute to just get back and everything. They're going to have to retake that tricky corner that they've been for this whole game.
We're seeing Rene hiding in the Mega. I don't think came. Oh, wait. Xenia has found him, but I'm not sure she wanted to really. Lightvoid running in, has that Annihilation. Not going to pop it though, he doesn't get it.
Xenia's down.
Actually, Toby gets a few kills. Lightvoid pops the ult but goes down anyway. Ryan very low. Not necessarily wanting to charge in, but that is That is Cambridge up. Game Boy Lee on the flank with his heal, able to get more hits. And now pops the visor to just make sure they're in no funny business. But Cambridge are not pushing the payload, so Oxford potentially have another chance to retake this. Light Void switching onto that line. He's had enough. He's back on his signature hero. But Oxford are going to stall this out. Cambridge will not capture. Ryan getting a very nice pin off and looking for that shatter potentially. Light Void shield broken. Shatter goes out. Seb not quite dying to it. Blizzard coming out, I believe. Will Ryan be able to get out? I think he does, but Naval Eye stays in, and Ryan actually died. Renee Death Blossom picking up the follow. And again,
Maybe just sticking around on point.
well, it's the end of the map.
There we are. So another win for Oxford there. So just a quick reminder, this is a best of 7, so we need 5 to win overall. So still it's anyone's game. We've got 7 play of the game.
Those googly eyes. Matching Reapers are perfectly.
There we go, the beautiful triple kill. Straight back over, get the bastion too.
Looking at his 4K. Denied the ace by Naval Eye there. But yeah, I mean, again, Oxford just. I mean, it doesn't look like they're in control of the match there when they're dying on repeat. But all that matters is actually getting that payload there. And Cambridge were just not doing that. I mean, there were periods of time when they just weren't on the payload. And Oxford very good with those tanky characters that can stall like May and Reaper, keeping that payload just not moving, allowing time for their respawns to come in.
Would you say that because both teams managed to capture the first point very quickly, do you think either of them were necessarily bad at the defence, or do you think the attack just overruled the defence, even if it was good?
Well, I mentioned creative strategies from Cambridge, and I mean, we saw that again. They literally flipped the map on Oxford. And I feel perhaps Oxford just were not expecting that and didn't really have an answer.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I can't remember which teams it was in Overwatch League, when they just totally went the entire way around.
It's lost on me as well,
but that was a good watch, especially with the Rhine building, who's going to shatter, who's going to block shatter, and several blizzards there, which is also entertaining to watch, see who can escape. But Cambridge very nearly getting to that point. Perhaps if they stayed on the payload a little bit more.
Well, yeah, crucially, I called it out at that one point when Cambridge was not on the payload. If they had been on, it was 1.5 meters. I think they would have pushed it through. And that's, I think they're going to be kicking themselves on that. But it does happen sometimes. You know, you get greedy, you want to push up and get those kills. You forget that this is actually an objective-based game. There is a payload you need to push. Perhaps the default pusher, usually support probably the Ana in that comp, got picked off and they just hadn't realised it. Took them a while to refocus and get on. But yeah, I don't think Cambridge were. I think Cambridge were actually winning more fights than they lost there on that attack. They just dropped the ball.
I think also we haven't seen that much of the Ana, but in this map, Leah on the Ana with the anti-nade, that was really effective against Light Void's Ryan.
Ramatra doesn't, well, and Ramatra especially, he wants to go in and be an aggressive with his Nemesis form, but the nade just immediately shuts that down. He can't just go in there and keep swinging. He has to get out, because otherwise he will just get cut down. And we saw there was a nano in pretty much every fight.
Yeah, there was.
And those were huge, because not only does it like give your tank an advantage in the fight, allows him to go in and get those kills, but it builds his ult faster, because we also saw there were Earth Shatters coming out pretty often. I think that's actually why Light Void swapped. Ramatra only has a 4-second shield, and it's on a 10-second cooldown, and that just gives Ryan a free opportunity to shatter whenever he wants.
Yeah, and we saw an attempt at trying to shatter underneath the payload as well, which didn't quite pay off. But
style points were there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think if that came off, it would have been very successful. Also, quite a few boops going around, booping people. and interesting to see the BAP using window on high ground behind the enemy, just on his own.
It's unorthodox, but you've got to remember that BAP's gun is actually pretty nasty, and with that window, he can delete a squishy pretty quickly, one or two bursts.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he amplifies his own healing to help him keep his team up. And it's not like he could have gone out. That was the only place he was safe. Anywhere else, he is in Ryan hammer range, and that's just, it's not a good place to be. It hurts quite a lot.
Yeah, good position to be in though for Oxford at that point, to be attacking from two sides and
Exactly.
a threat from above with your squishies down below, like Anna, and then of course the main force from the rest of the team coming in through the front. I think that's probably where they started to not quite push the payload as much, perhaps the confusion.
Yeah, I mean,
between two sides.
Ryan having to choose between shielding the amplified BAP, who can still kill him very quickly, or the entire team, which can, again, like, that's a lot of damage, and you can only shield one. It's not like he could have really... I guess there was one angle where he could have stayed on the payload and shielded both, but then he's only shielding himself and just leaving the rest of his team open. There's really no good option for him there.
Yeah, but again, classic map, so always very entertaining to watch.
Of course.
And we anticipated the Rhine. I wish we got to see more Widowmaker. I think that would have been really exciting to watch. But I did like the May Blizzard. Not quite duel, but on both teams.
It was interesting to see, especially because quite often they were very large, but it wasn't actually the conversion on the kills.
Yeah, got a lot of people, but wasn't quite, finalising those kills, which meant that people could regroup and re-heal, especially with, again, the Anna nade. Quick burst of healing, get everyone up really quick. And unfortunately, a few late beats, sorry. Especially on Oxford's side, with, I think it was either Ramacha or Ryan dying just before the beat, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it was Ramacha on Oxford's there. Yeah, and I do wonder if, we saw quite a few ults with the Earth Shatters as well. Like, they're powerful, but you need the coordination to focus down on them, and I wonder if that was just a bit lacking from both teams, but I think particularly Cambridge, just with the volume they were getting off. And it's, some of it is definitely coming down to Oxford anticipating it and preparing. I mean, we saw the one Blizzard on screen where Toby got 3 or even 4, but the Oxford immediately just put up their own wall, and then once he managed to burn that down, there was a lamp, the time ran out.
Yeah, I'd love to see more big shatters which get a payoff at the end, because those can be really exciting to just watch a little steamroll for, against whichever team. But like we had Seb's 3-man Blossom, that was very good.
Again, Reaper main here, always appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah, also looking for a lot of the flags dropping in, Rene causing people to be out of position. I think that was really well played from both sides, except maybe perhaps the payload thing, but it was, I'd say, again, very close.
Yeah, I definitely think both teams played that very well. It's just kind of, some of it is just down to luck. Like, sometimes you miss the shot when you normally would have hit it. Sometimes you get unlucky with the spread, or it gets just out of hammer range in time. And it is just those, like, crucial moments.
Yeah, I think especially on Oxford's side, both from the supports, very mobile. So we had Lucio and Bap. They can jump and wall ride and everything all over the place. Whereas again with the Anna, very effective but slower, so quite easily caught off guard if you're out of position.
Yeah, especially with that speed amp on the other team. If you see an Anna, you can bring the full might of your entire team down on her very quickly, and she doesn't survive that generally. It's not a good time.
Some good sleeps as well though.
Yes, true.
Especially coming towards the second point on I think the Reaper got slept.
Yes, his Blossom, which Ryan's shield was very low there. I reckon that could have been a wipe, but Leah managing to get that sleep out, cancelling that ult.
do you think in comms they would have been shouting at don't shoot him, don't shoot him, or would it be just a, let's get this done?
I reckon it's a somewhere in between the two, kind of like a slept reaper. You know, it's there. It's pretty vocal, but I mean, there was only 3 of them alive there. Comms are probably quite clear anyway, and what you actually want to do in that situation is you want to just kill him as fast as possible. Ryan had pin, I believe, and very nearly converted that into a kill. I believe he was booped by the Lucio, although I could be confusing that with a different fight.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see what we've got for the next match. We're going to have Escort up next, which I quite like because you're straight in, you're pushing the cart, there's no waiting around. If you're not on the cart at the start, it's going to move forward. And I think perhaps that will affect how the defence goes with those.
I mean, there's quite a variety of maps on Escorts. Yep. But notably, quite a lot of them have fairly disgusting sightlines, like Circuit Royale, Havana, Rialto to an extent. Eichenwald has those nasty high grounds in the second point as well. So we might be seeing that Widow come out again.
Yeah, I'll be looking for that, and you know, even far on a lot of these maps, because there is so much open air space, and the high ground is there, but also there are lots of other higher points, so you can move around and use them for cover even in the air. So I'm excited for that, and again, I hope we get to see more Rhine duels. They're always fun to watch.
I feel like if any mode we're not going to see the Rhine come out, it's going to be this one, though.
Yeah, no, that's true. Do you think we'll see much Diva or any other dive characters? Because we've only seen Brawl pretty much so far, so we haven't seen a Winston.
From what I know, we're not going to be seeing a Diva from Light Void. We could see a Winston. I believe both tanks are fans of the Winston, but even though there is the whole Winton thing, he's not actually that strong right now. At least in my experience. I mean, in pro play, sure, they make him look easy, but it's really all about that coordination. When you're playing with the Winston, you have to be really on the ball. You have to all dive together. But we might see a ball, though I hate to say it.
From Cambridge side, do you think?
He's quite strong right now. I don't know that much about what Ryan plays. I mean, we've seen a lot of the Ryan. He's clearly quite comfortable on it. But I'm told he's been practicing all of them. And I mean, if Cambridge want to change things up, because I mean, although these matches are close, it's clearly not going in their favour. Ball would be a pretty good way of changing things up.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see how Oxford deal with that. Such a quick force coming at them rather than a slow, very strong, very shieldy type force. And I wonder how that would affect which DPS are chosen to counter that as well.
We've seen the May, who can be decent into ball. It really depends on the ball player. She can slow his escape, but she definitely can't stop him. I guess it also depends on the map, because if it's something like Circuit Royale, which is like it's basically just like one long hallway, then the wall can be quite effective in controlling where the ball can go. But if it's something more open, maybe a Rialto, then that ball is just going to be going around doing whatever he wants, really. And the May can slow him down, but she can't kill him. She does not do anywhere near enough damage.
Yeah, exactly.
So we might be seeing the May Bastion come out if it becomes a particular problem.
So, what do you think the players we're talking about right now? I reckon Cambridge will be talking about the payload thing. What do you think is going through Oxford's mind? Because they're doing well, but again, it's close.
Dorado. Okay. So I think everything we've mentioned could come up. We could see a Farah. She's particularly strong on the first point, on defense at least, or attack, depending on what kind of hit scan the enemy team run, but there are also some insanely long sight lines. And that's the kind of thing where you can see that Widow come out, and it looks like the players are ready, so we are heading to the lobby.
So here we are.
What wonders of Dorado will we see this time? Some nice rooms.
Going over to the attacking side.
And we
still.
can in fact see that Sherlock is in, so I think we're going to be seeing that Widow.
I wonder if Rene will pull that out to counter it as well. I'm not sure. Seb is very well versed in Widow, but we shall see.
Well, if you're good enough with those icicles, they can be a pretty potent Widow counter.
Very true.
Especially damage boosted with Widow's health nerf to 175, that's actually a one shot.
So we've got Light Void on the Winston and also Ryan on the Winston.
That's okay, I'm eating my words apparently. I mean, I did say they were fans, but I wasn't sure we were going to see it. And we're actually seeing Sherlock on the Ashe, not the Widow, with the Mercy coming out from Xenia. So that's going to be a pretty big problem for Oxford on their current comp, I think. Because Ashe is going to outduel your Reaper, it's going to outduel your Cass. And she can just knock the Winston away. He jumps up, he jumps back down.
Right, Cambridge setting up high ground. Hello. Winston's looking to get off that high ground, I think.
Little poke, gonna have a little taser battle. Shield is out for Oxford, shield out for Cambridge. Reaper up there, going half, but forces Ryan down. Wraithbomb actually out. Ryan forced to fall back further. I'm not sure how I feel about the Winston with the rest of the heroes that Cambridge are running. It's very much a low style. You can't do much with it.
Absolutely. Ashe doesn't have all that much of a good and soldiers are putting it out, but not very good with vertical mobility.
We've seen the nade came out from Naval Cleanse from Finn, so Oxford are actually losing that to like Ryan going low, having to fall back. This is it's an odd fight. Cambridge are actually, despite the hit scans, they really want to be taking the high ground, but they're actually on the low ground fight. Rene in the window, the kill. Light Void, Xenia going down to find Light Void and Rene, and Ryan is going to barely see him, I think.
Taser connects on the sides here. Cambridge Winston's down and Oxford are getting some meters through on the payload here. And yep, I think they're probably going to get the point. Here we are.
Alright, they're sticking with the comp. I really would like to see the Winston change. I mean, he's definitely getting value, but I feel like he gets so much more value on really any other character. He's so alone, and Winston is so dependent on his team when he goes in. He might have 550 health, but it's impressive how fast that goes down. Especially into a comp with so much damage like Reaper.
Marketing hostile.
Cassidy. So, Rene getting behind him. Is that from behind? I believe so. Oxford just kind of like Cambridge. I believe Toby is on a flank, but oh no, sorry, that's Sherlock. He has been spotted, and he goes down to Rene. It's a pretty big stagger. And Oxford are going to roll it to that next corner before Cambridge really get another fight.
That's better.
We do have the visor coming out of Toby and the nano. And Oxford, the only answer they really have for that is oh no, we've seen the nano come out right. He's going deep. He wants that Ana dead. He has that primal to get him out of trouble. Seb managing to get a kill with the Death Blossom in the cooldown in the backline. Sherlock going down to Light Void's own primal rage. We have two Winstons battling it out on the payload. Ryan focusing on their Winston. I'd rather see him kill the Jericho to be honest. Ryan having more health here. I don't like he's going to be forced to get out. Still holding on to that visor.
Xenia pulls off the res on Toby. That's big.
The visor is out in the backline, but he dies to Cass's skill. Cambridge kind of on the back foot again here. Even though they were just on so much, they even invested in ult in that fight. Toby swapping onto the Reaper now. Ryan picking off the Ana, actually, that's pretty huge. Cambridge are down both their healers. Seb getting chased down by Toby, he's very low. I don't think he's getting out of there. Although he's healed up, Toby says, fine, I'll just kill your Kiriko instead. That works for me. And Winston jumping into a room he perhaps did not want to be in. 0.92 meters. Close, but Cambridge managed to hold on. And we're now actually seeing the Bastion come out from Sherlock as well. So that's a Light Void immediately swapping onto Diva. He doesn't want anything to do with that. Ryan sticking on the Winston. We're seeing Finn seems to like this cheeky little spot on the high ground where he can stand there.
So I think it's quite easy to talk to the other players and
Suzu out for Cambridge. Seb teleporting in, forced out immediately. Toby again just wanted nothing to do with that. That looks like Cass on the flank, being forced out by Reaper and Mercy, but actually Cass wins the fight with his grenade.
Over there.
Here now, Light Void facing off a lot of damage. He has that defense matrix, managed to keep him alive with it, but Oxford kind of stuck in a room. Ooh, Ryan jumped in, a lot of damage, has the Primal Rage to save himself. That's 2 shotguns right in your face. Winston, not a fan of that. Health goes down quite quickly, forced out. And that's part of why I really like to see Ryan swap off. It's just there's so much damage. But he does, however, have Toby with him now, so he doesn't have a dive. He might be getting by off that. He's more for appearance. Seb with those supercharged shotguns, immediately whittling Ryan's health down. Oxford going very low. Ana down. There is a Winston in the back line. But he's low, jumps out, has no bubble, getting shot at by Rene, has to touch, just not enough health, not enough time. Oxford will point through the second checkpoint.
there we go. I'm glad they managed to push it around that corner again because the fight had taken so long to move, background, but luckily we're back in the game.
Definitely Cambridge giving back what they received. That stally fight on the objective, just not quite getting it through. Toby on the high ground, waiting for the flank. Rene sees a pick, takes it. Toby wraithing before the grenade comes out, and now he's vulnerable. I'd really like to see him save that. That's how you win the fight if you can. You need to save that wraith. Otherwise, the grenade does 130 damage. It is what it is. That's half your health. You really can't be affording to take that.
Hello, moving around the corner now. It's within sight of the final destination. We've got Cassidy and Kiriko around.
The Reaper duel. Seb really not coming out on top of this. He's been forced out every fight. The high noon, the bubble to block it, but he also knocks him onto the low ground, out of the bubble.
So effective though, no value game.
Kitsune rush out for Oxford, getting a pick onto Maple Eye. The anti is out and there's no Kiriko to cleanse it, but Sherlock melts Seb down before he can get his own kill. Light Void here to defense matrix Toby, nothing he can do about that, and a bomb and the payload rolls through the third checkpoint.
There we go, 39 seconds remaining though, so it's definitely still anyone's game.
Definitely. Especially, I mean, that second point is very hard to take with those long sight lines, but at the same time, Cambridge weren't actually abusing them that much. They seemed to do pretty poorly on the hit scans, and it's when they changed characters that they started winning. I do wonder what we will see on the attack. Will we see the same comp? Are they going to try the hit scans again? Maybe we'll see a Pharaoh. We mentioned it before. Didn't come out, but we've seen the Mercy from Xenia.
We have, so perhaps that's what's going on in comms right now. I'm having a look at some of the
It's a lovely
the
fire
map.
hydrant. Truly, just the peak of engineering,
There are many beautiful sites in Overwatch, and this is maybe not what I would consider one of them. But my opinion's not final. So we've got, here we go, we do have the Widow.
We actually have double sniper from Cambridge on their attack though.
And we have Ball on defense, which is very interesting.
Hog even from Cambridge.
This will
They
be an
know they're going
exchange.
into the Ana, so they have the Kiriko to cleanse it. But I imagine what Cambridge are playing for here then is they would just like to remove one player from the game, essentially. They don't care how they do it. Is it a Hanzo headshot? Is it a Widow headshot? Is it a Hog hook? Doesn't matter. Any single one of those can easily convert a kill on one of your squishies.
Yeah, if that Anna's out of the fight, that's going to be tough to come back from, especially with the spawn disadvantage.
Oh, I wonder if they actually heard the ball, and that's why they got Hog hook. Yeah, we're seeing the Winston come back out. Liveloid getting very low here.
To retreat.
Using those shields to regenerate. I think he'll be able to get out. But Ryan, in the meantime, is going, okay, you don't want to help the rest of your team? I'll go have some fun with them. And Sherlock getting that headshot onto Seb. Oxford now down a pick. Liveloid, full health, wanting to come back in. Oh, Sherlock, 5 HP. Sherlock does go down. But again, like, sure, you spent all this time with your ball and your Kiriko, like, trying to kill the Widow. Where's the rest of your team? Go back and spawn. Finn managing to get out with the hits. But teleports back in. I'm not sure about that one. He was very low. Livevoid just doing his absolute best to stall this point. And he's going to be able to do it again. He's already back up to 500 health. He's going to roll back through.
Yeah,
and Cambridge are lacking damage. Like, that's the one disadvantage of that sniper comp. The Widow does very low DPS. And Hanzo can burst the character down with his storm arrows, but he can't headshot the ball while he's in wall form, and it doesn't do enough to outright get the kill. Sherlock getting they Oxford have clearly identified him as a threat. Toby actually managing to get a Dragon Strike kill. 2 kills from the mines on Livevoid. That was looking quite a favourable fight for Cambridge. Getting the res off, but Xenia goes down to Rene. Oh, and the payload just rolls through. So, quite a messy fight, but
yeah, a bit all over the place.
In Cambridge's favour somehow. Sherlock sticking on that Widow now that we're on the second. We're seeing a little bit of Josh talk in the chat. Rene picking off Toby there. Just the difference of having your support help. Even Livevoid, Cambridge down both these guys now. Looking to farm some ult charge maybe, but I would expect them to get out. Leaving Xenia to die. She's in a very rough situation. Maybe the bubble manages to save her, and Oxford choose not to push too far. They know that Cambridge have that Widow. She's sitting there waiting for you to extend. That's exactly what she needs. Pops the site as she gets slammed. Possibly not your best choice. I think we might be seeing a character change there.
I'm interested to see what Seb does whizzing around on Tracer, which is probably going to complement Livevoid's havoc causing on Wrecking Ball.
Definitely, they've both been diving straight into Sherlock, who has now changed onto the entirety of Oxford's team, and there is actually an environmental kill that we get, but Impman manages to land asleep, and Ryan unable to get those kills. Rene with a very interesting high noon. I think that might have been a split, to be completely honest. That was a high noon in range of the node. Ryan losing his bubble, losing a lot of health. Xenia's going for the res. Doesn't have that healing on hand. The Kitsune rushes out. Livevoid going straight in the back with his 1000 health, trying to push out the healers. Seb going down to Sherlock. Ryan's health just all over the place. It's a roller coaster. Sherlock opting in with I think Cambridge are up in this fight, but those mines are going to stay there for quite a while and deny a lot of progress. They're gone now though, and Cambridge immediately start pushing up Oxford back. Ryan and Livevoid both just farming their own ults and their support ults off each other. Gets the slam, but Kieran Kai's a mercy heal. Actually manages to get the kill with his with Rene coming back to assist more damage. They get the res off though. Seb getting the stick, but it's on the Winston. That's the one character in that bubble you did not want to land it on. Xenia falling down. Rene has another high noon. Manages to actually pop this one in line of sight of someone and turns down the castle. That's a reset for Cambridge.
Oxford are making use of this this high ground here.
Yeah, Cambridge are doing their best to contest them, but they're kind of going up one by one, and when they do, they just get picked off by that ball and that cast.
Yeah, Winston keeps going up really fast, and then the others take a bit more time to follow.
We're seeing a flank on the right. Seb has noticed it, but he cannot kill that by himself. In fact, the entire team is going around the side. Light Void rolling through, realizing he might have been off a bit more than he can chew, but 90% of those mines. And he can get those. Oh, Toby stuck. Actually dies. Was Rennie nanoed? Yes, he was.
There we go, he's got 3 points there. Sherlock's
Sherlock
retreating.
Retreating, but not really. That's the one spot. And is thoroughly reminded of that by Oxford and sent back to the right one. So what ults do we have coming to this fight? We have Kitsune Rush and Mines at Oxford, and basically every ult in the game for Cambridge. They've been saving those up. Now they have to make sure they don't use them all at once, because as we've seen, Oxford are very good at disengaging. But if they stagger those correctly, there should really be nothing else you can do. Ryan jumping in on that Ana, converting the kill from the distraction in the backline. Light Void has managed to pick off Xenia.
No
before
more
she gets
support
away.
for Oxford here. Cambridge taking that chance to push through.
And that's only with one ult. They still have 4 for the next fight. The mines come out, but that's you can play those pretty easily. Seb on the flank having a 1v1 with Cody. Oxford actually managing to stall this into overtime, the rest of the team has come back. Sherlock racing out, Primal is popped just to get this annoying ball off the payload. Boops the High Noon out of the way as well. Stays in line of sight! Oh, that's crucial. Sherlock out with the Blossom, manages to pick up Kiriko, but it's only Xenia left on the payload now.
Seb manages to get to there with the pulse bomb. Xenia tries to do a res, but doesn't quite make it.
I'm not really sure what happened there. I think Light Void's just, he latched onto that payload and he did not leave it.
Yeah, whizzing back and forth all around. Who's to play the game? Game 2. Finn is Kiriko. Nice.
Again, just those beautiful googly eyes. We saw them on the payload at the end there briefly. Just sending those right clicks out. Oh, we got to see. Okay. Not a headshot. Not quite what I thought we were going to get, but those are still some very hard shots to hit on the Flying Mercy.
Well, that was very good. I think a bit more towards Oxford's side there, but I think they really pulled it out of the bag with just the chaos that Oxford was creating around the payload, with Cambridge joking a bit with the C9 comments.
Yeah, Cambridge again, just like getting it so close, but not close enough.
What do you think they could be doing to just tip it over the edge a bit more? Is it an issue of coordination, would you say?
Well, part of it is just, it is really hard to kill ball. Like,
Yeah.
there is only so much you can do. They have, it looks like we will be going to a quick break now. We can catch you after that.
Will we join you in a bit?
Alright, welcome back. So, after that match on Rialto, we're going into actually match point on Push.
We are. So I'm looking for Oxford to keep up the chaos, to be honest. That was really interesting to watch last map. What are you looking for Cambridge to be doing?
What I would really like Cambridge to do is, I think the just target prioritization, or not prioritization, sorry, that's the wrong word, focus, is just a bit lacking. They need to stop Oxford coming in with these staggers, and like, if there's a ball spinning around on the payload, you don't have the characters to deal with him. Reaper like does a lot of damage, but he's out of the range half the time. He can't do anything. Soldier does a lot of damage, but again, you'd be better off to shoot someone else. I'd actually like them to just walk up, hold the choke. Lightweight can spin around the point if he wants. He's not doing anything. Like, he's just stalling the point out. And what they really need to do is they need to just walk up, stop those staggers from coming in, because Oxford keep winning these fights with their respawns. But realistically, like, Cambridge should be able to just shut those out. They have so much better like map control when they're coming in.
Yeah, I think keeping their position, not letting that chaos truly disrupt, their positioning, not overextending as a result of that or getting split. I think, in the previous maps we saw the Mei profiting off of those splits, falling off other characters. But I think, really sticking together as a team is really important, which Oxford seemed to have quite a coordinated retreat. Perhaps maybe something Cambridge needs to focus on a bit more is, go after that retreat a bit and try and catch the stragglers if they can.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Cambridge like to play a fairly close comp, and that kind of comp can struggle with killing the stragglers just because you don't have that damage at range. But, I mean, that just kind of goes back to what I was saying. If you can't catch up to them, just don't let them come back in. Push up. Why are you having the fight on the payload? You should be having it way past that corner. It's just like, they can try, like Oxford can try and run past you if you're a Ryan or a Winston, but like you're going to get quite a lot of free damage on them if they do that. And like again with your Reaper, like they shouldn't really be able to just walk past you.
Yeah, and again, just keeping together with the Winston is quite difficult when you haven't got as much mobility, spur of the moment mobility, should I say. It takes a bit of time for Reaper to get up there. Soldier's going to have to find his way upstairs. Mercy can easily go up, but
she isn't contributing that much to the dive really. I mean, she'll keep him alive, but in terms of damage, it's an extra 30 DPS. Colosseo. Okay, we might still be seeing Sherlock on the Widow, because Colosseo does have some pretty long sightlines again.
it does, and this is one of the newer maps in Overwatch 2, so most of these players won't have played it as much as the other ones. So it'll be interesting to see what strategies they use on this one.
Yeah, it is actually notably the only new map we've had so far. I wonder if that is perhaps just a relic of the players being more comfortable on the old maps.
Yeah, I think because there is a classic quality to the other ones, you know, they can freestyle perhaps a bit more because they know all the ins and outs so much. With Colosseo, it's new push map.
Nobody knows where the health kits are. There
Exactly,
are random flanks, rooms you never knew existed.
Exactly.
And this kind of goes into what you were saying you wanted Oxford to do with keeping up the chaos. It's a lot easier to make a map chaotic when nobody knows what's going on anyway.
Exactly, easy to weave in and out of those Colosseum pillars, in fact, as well. You know, to get through, to get that natural cover.
But we really could see any style of comp on this point. They're all pretty viable. We might see Cambridge go back on the rush, honestly. They tried the dive under Rad, well, sort of. I wouldn't quite call what they played dive. It's more of a poke comp with a Winston than anything. But I mean, to be fair, they made it work. They were getting those picks, and it looks like the players are ready, so we'll be heading into the lobby.
Initiating match.
Here we are in Colosseo. Going over to one of the spawns. Nice little fountain there that we're looking at. Beautiful. You know, some say that the Colosseum is the main focal point of this map, but you know, this golden fountain really is something to be looked at as well.
I mean, just look at the gold plating on that wreath as well. You know, locking Torb from Rene. Xenia calling the past three maps a warm-up, calling the reverse sweep. That's the kind of confidence we like to see. We're seeing the Doomfist from Ryan, and from Light Void actually. What is going on here? This, and it looks like Rene was not lying. I feel like the only people who aren't trolling are Invman, Finn and Seb with some fairly normal picks, but they don't entirely mesh with the comp.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the Sojourn matchup though. We haven't seen a Sojourn yet so far.
It really seems like Cambridge and Oxford are sharing brain cells. They actually have fairly similar comps.
They
I
do
don't know what's
indeed.
going on.
Well, interesting to see where Torby is gonna fit in, to be honest.
Seb getting the first pick on Toby, Ryan getting out the skin of his teeth, Light Void saying no you don't, chases him down with the slam.
Rene just getting the Kiriko there.
Moving along now.
Cambridge in disbelief at the Torbjorn.
Oxford having a pretty big advantage in this, I would say, just to the Zen. Doomfist doesn't have a lot of health. Like 450 looks like a lot when you compare it to a squishy, but when you compare it to the other tanks, it's nothing. Especially with the damage output that Zen and Sojourn can put out. Doom can just melt pretty quickly. He actually gets Seb and Lightvoid low there. Sherlock bringing out the Cassidy. Finn, so lost.
Yeah, Overwatch has always a lot going on.
It's actually even trade so far, I think. Cambridge low, but matching through. Nade comes out, finds nobody. Finn getting a pick. Finn actually with 3 kills this match. Sorry, not this match, this fight. Naval Eye looking to swap, maybe?
Over here. One of these days I'll let
Thinking about it.
Orisa has come out for Cambridge.
Yeah. Orisa, Mercy, Anna. I imagine that Mercy is going to be pocketing the Sojourn. Although it could be going on the Cat as well. Both are pretty valid. Light Void inching the payload forwards, but has decided this is his time to leave. Rene coming in from the side, actually getting a kill, same with Finn. Oxford seems to be having to do this little choke, which you can just not expect. And clean up the fight.
Lightwood pushing forward to the enemy spawn. Probably not a good idea on his own.
Cambridge just regrouping. Oxford now have that forward spawn, crucially. Sherlock on the Hansen now. To be fair, that's not a bad pick. It allows you to test quite a lot of the main damage dealers from Oxford. Lightvoid ulting, will he find Sherlock? I think he will with that Discord. He messes up the slam. And Rene zones the rest of the team from helping her with his
Transcendence comes out for Finn there.
Lightvoid having a snooze. Naval Eye doing their best to stay alive, but does not manage to get back in the score. Same with Ryan. This is pretty dire for Cambridge. This is last fight territory. Oxford have nano overclock, which is Sojourn's ult, and that is pretty hard to deal with.
Cambridge also matching with that.
True.
By the time they
Cambridge changing up the comp again. Toby actually bringing out the overclock first, but not the nano. Saving it out. Gets the Zen. That's huge. Zen is like so important.
Finn is like a lot of value for us. There we go. We can see light.
Has his ult to bail him out though, and Rene is just right there.
On the tour.
Nano comes out to save Ryan, but that allows him to do what Cambridge have needed to do really this entire time, completely clean up.
There we go. Moving the robot
Getting
back.
some lot progress. But remember, Oxford have that close spawn. You can see Rene's already in this corridor, picking a fight with Sherlock. Sherlock picks off the carry on Oxford's team, that turret, can't forget it. Most dangerous player, never misses. Someone should check his PC. Zoning Cambridge off. Ryan going incredibly low, ramped out to save him. And Cambridge actually on the Reaper as well, taking out Rene. Seb in the back line gets the kill on Naval Eye and Sherlock. Leaving Ryan alone, and he falls to that. Toby picking off Finn actually in the back line, and that's pretty huge. Reaper can get back fairly quickly, although he's opting to stay in. But fair enough, I mean, Oxford seems to want to give him these 1v1s, and Reaper's actually quite happy to take those. Toby's teleporting out somewhere. Next. Oh, so close to being able to Wraith and get that Mega, but not quite.
Anna just over the edge.
The window out for Cambridge. The slam splits the difference, doesn't manage to pick up either group. But could see a boosted 5-strike come out. Lightvoid getting very low in the back line. Falls to Xenia. Anti on Ryan, forcing him to fall back, but he doesn't fall. Toby, on the other hand, doesn't quite get the medal. He sends a 5-strike through the bottom. To do that. Ryan pushing in very low on shield. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Sherlock on the Widow. I'm not sure if this is a permanent change or if it's just to make use of that long sideline. Oh, Ryan sleeping. Light Void going low, but comes in with the empowered punch. Lancer's there to stop it, trying to save Light Void. The anti, but Ryan comes out of nowhere. But sleep only lasts 6 seconds, you can't forget about it. Waiting for Pin to go back in, I reckon, but Cambridge are down their Anna, and the Doom is right there to prevent the Widow getting any cheeky pins. Ryan's going to have to walk out soon. Lands the body shot instead, manages to get the kill, that's pretty big. There is a Nano Doomfist now, and your anti. Sherlock, I'm sorry, you're living to the lamp. Xenia doing her best to keep Sherlock alive, and while Light Void was putting all of his focus into getting that kill,
Really good
Cambridge
lamp
have
usage.
managed to get to the point there.
Xenia being really smart with that lamp many times.
In-man on an odd front, I think probably just caught out there. But you can see he nearly managed to get 2 picks. And Cambridge just struggled to deal with these off angles, which Oxford are pulling out. Rene doing his best to keep his turret alive, uses his ult in frustration, keeps Cambridge zoned off, but you'd much rather use it when you can keep them down. They can just walk back on now. Light Void in the back line, misses the punch, and taking damage from all angles. That block only protection from the front. Manages to get the Mega to keep himself alive. Ryan also in the back line, both tanks sorry, no, that's Cambridge's side. It's just he's just being forced back. Sherlock with that crucial pick again. Rene putting his turret on the flank. Shatter comes out, gets stunned when he's about to end Light Void. Doesn't matter. They get the kill anyway, and I think Cambridge are finally going to manage to push his bot through and get the forward squads going. Infman again, just I'm not sure what his angles Oxford are taking.
Interesting angles, for sure.
I think there's a little bit of trouble going on.
Perhaps.
Toby on the flank with that Death Blossom. Oxford have quite a few answers to it. They have mobility, they have sleep, and they have punch. But at the same time, Light Void is in the back line. Anti, I think he falls here. He must be punched straight into Reaper. Toby getting 2 with the Blossom. Sherlock, another pick to finalize the fight.
Cambridge getting a lot of bot progress here as well.
Yeah, another fight win, or potentially even this one if they manage to pick off this set. Yes, they do. I don't think Oxford are going to be able to contest this. Ryan's shield breaks, but that's fine. The team slight miscommunication there, I think. But Sherlock is there to make use of that advantage, and now he can even just get a one-shot kill with the body shot. Light Void comes from the sky, attempts to contest, but Ryan says, no thank you, get off my point. Again, some interesting angles being taken here. The sights have been popped from Sherlock, goes down to Seb's ult, but Seb sleeps and gets pulled by something, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I really don't know who woke him back, but he was very thankful they did, because he was dead there. Light Void, the heals are too strong.
Fifth
Stays
getting
up.
2 kills there. Again, finding really good value in the Discord orbs. And the bot is moving back towards the middle.
Oxford 4 ults in the bank, Cambridge only 2, and Cambridge need to win multiple fights to finish this off. Light Void getting slept when being forced to ult by Ryan charging in his face. Oxford kind of just all over the place. Seb just getting out. That's a nano tall hammer. I saw that come out. He gets the kill on Toby.
With the hammer.
Chooses not to use the hammer for Xenia.
And gets the hammer himself for Ryan.
True, but it's only Ryan alive now. He cannot stay up against that, and Oxford finish it out with a hammer kill. That's certainly one way to finish a series.
Now let's see who's got play of the game here. That's Light Void, of course.
Just jumping into the back line and being a menace. not necessarily getting kills every time, but he attracts the attention of the rest of Cambridge so well that the rest of the team can just follow up. Although, saying that in this play, he picked off quite a few by himself.
Yeah, causing a lot of chaos again on the Oxford side. So that is an Oxford victory. But I think Cambridge definitely put up a really good fight there. It was really close, and just maybe a few miscommunications, but equally Oxford, their own blunders, as well.
Yeah, the last map didn't look as close as the others, I don't think. Cambridge had managed to get a good set of fight wins, but it's also kind of the nature of push. You need to win so many fights in a row to get that progress.
Yeah, it's definitely easier if you start off with a big push, and then you can, you've got that in the bank. You just have to defend at that point, which is what Oxford managed to do. Although Cambridge did manage to push it back quite far and gain that spawn advantage, but unfortunately it didn't quite come through for them.
No, just weren't able to push it quite as far as Oxford, because Oxford did nearly get it to their spawn. It's a pretty hard distance to meet.
Yeah, Sherlock changing quite a few times on that map actually, perhaps because of the chaos.
Yeah, just not quite sure what to play, what is the counter. But eventually settling on Icon.
Well,
did he finish on hands up? He changed quite a few times. He was picking good characters. He was making work. But yeah, just the problem with changing all that time is you lose that ult every time you switch. You keep 25%, but if you're changing every fight, you're on 25% when the other team already have their ults.
Yeah, and I think there are multiple star players here, but we're going to move to see who the MVP of this epic fight was. So we'll transfer over to that in a minute, I think.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Oxford-Cambridge 2023 varsity matchup, and my goodness, an absolute barn burner on Overwatch 2 sees Oxford take it 4-0, and alongside with them, of course, is your MVP Finn. Finn, how did the series feel to you in general? I mean, listen, your team came in as favourites and surely showed why.
Yeah, we were pretty confident coming into it. It took us a while to settle in, so yeah, getting used to the setups. It was my first time playing on LAN, but yeah, once we got into it, we were really comfortable. Happy playing the game. Yeah, last map we definitely did a bit of funny business, but yeah, no, it was great fun as well. So.
And how was the team dynamic for you guys coming into this? I imagine as the years progressed, some players left from last year, came in this year. Was it kind of like adjusting to a new core, a new setup? Because obviously you're running a team who is like a top 10 player in Europe. I'm pretty sure that's some good experience to sort of, kind of get through to your head.
Yeah, it definitely took us a while. We've done a lot of practice, especially because we compete in university leagues. So we've been working quite hard at that, and I feel like now we feel really comfortable in our team. I feel comfortable with our comms, and yeah, we listen to Rene a lot. He's definitely the team leader. He definitely helps us and tells us what to do, and gives us ideas for comps and strategies and everything. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Right now, we're up to Rocket League as our last series of the day. And don't go anywhere, we'll be back shortly. We're good.